Hi Stampers, Purple Lizard here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the memorable Mosaic stamp set and suite. And the suite is basically all of the products that Stampin' Up! Has that coordinate with the stamp set. So for the memorable Mosaic stamp set, we have the coordinating timeless label punch, which punches out this stamp here, and also when you turn it this way it punches out this stamp here, and I have a sample of that I will show you later. There is also a coordinating 3D embossing folder. It is called the Mosaic 3D embossing folder. This is what it looks like, and I have a sample of it. Here's some samples of it. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm going to hold it up really close, and it even embosses the little pits in all of the mosaic tiles, because you know they're old. These are from 1500 BC is when mosaic tile was around, and so yeah, so that's really nice. And there is also, and that's a 6x6 embossing folder also. There is, and I've showed this in one of my other videos, the paper that coordinates with it. This is the Mosaic Mood Specialty Designer Series paper. And the reason it's specialty is because it has the embossed on one side of each of the pages. So I've showed it already. I'm going to quickly show it to you again. I really do love this paper. This is the embossed side here. Some of the mosaic tile, and then there's the hummingbirds. They're embossed, and the little stars or flowers, and the hummingbirds again, and more mosaic tile. This one's the embossed side, and a braided look to the embossed or the mosaic tile, and this is the embossed one, and then that. So I love that paper. Then there's also some embellishments that coordinate with this set, this suite. These are called flower faceted gems. And then there is this ribbon. It is textile ribbon. It's like a polyester ribbon. It's kind of soft, and it's mint macaron. And those are, I think that's everything that coordinates with it. This stamp set has a couple of sentiments on it. I really like this one, sending happy wishes your way. That could just go with anything. And this one is a mouthful, but it's nice. All the pieces of your kindness make my life more beautiful. And then the thank you. Some of these stamps are distinctive stamps. The tree is distinctive. This little flower, the braid, and that's it. The others are just regular stamps. This is in the artistic expression part of the catalog. The biggest stamp in this set is the tree. and it fits on the E block. And that's the biggest stamp, the biggest block you'll need, or, you know, use the Stamparatus. And I have some cards made with the stamp set that I'm going to show you. This one I got in a swap, and the person that made it is Jason Moore. He just stamped the top of the tree, and you can see the distinctive in it. So as you know, the distinctive means that when you stamp it, some of the image shows up darker and lighter because of these awesome stamps that Stampin' Up invented. And this is the label that is done with the Timeless Label Punch, and he's punched it out twice with that peacock and then offset it on both sides. Pretty peacock. And let's see, we have another one here. This one, I stamped it in mint macaron and then blushing bride over to the side. I used the little embellishments and the ribbon. This is that ruffled ribbon stuck underneath it. And then Wishes is from Well Said. And then this is the designer series paper behind it. Next, I did it in purple, and I actually did this card twice. First time I did it, I stamped it first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and I sort of did that with the tree top part 2, and I thought it was too much, so I decided to go back and just do first generation, second generation. But I kept going with the other card at the same time. I didn't want to just give up on it. And then I went back and I embossed the little flower in with gold embossing powder. And I did the same on this one. And I sort of kept thinking, well, I do like this one better. So I was glad that I dug it out of the trash can. I threw it away at first, and so I was glad I kept working with it. This one turned out nice too. I just I punched the Timeless Label punch with some gold foil paper, and then I cut it in half, and then it's offset at each end is how I achieved that effect on the label where I got the gold behind it. So that's that card. And here's another one where I embossed it in gold. Now, when you emboss this stamp in gold with anything, when you wet emboss it, it doesn't show the distinctiveness, but it was still really interesting, I thought. This is one where I cut the card in half, and then I'm holding it together with the tree and the punch. And the thank you, of course, I stamped half and then stamped the other half. Offset the back of the label. In the background, I stamped that tree. You can see the distinctive in it. This color is the soft seafoam, is what color this is. And here's another one where I stamped the tree twice, and it sort of has a gap between it, and I put a little thank you and a ribbon, and the trunk of the tree. I really like the way it stamps. It does a nice job of the distinctive. With this card, I stamped the background a couple of different times with this stamp in Pretty Peacock, I think Bermuda Bay, and Balmy Blue. And then I did this label this stamp where I punched it out sideways, and then I also stamped it on Balmy Blue and fussy cut out the kindness and just stuck it back on top of the Bermuda Bay. And so those were the basic cards that I did with the stamp set. And now the paper, I could do a whole nother video on the paper and how beautiful it is. I'm just going to show you a few of the cards that I made with the paper. Here's one with the embossing folder in the background. And I'm just fussy cutting all the parts out of the designer series paper with this one. I cut out a whole sheet of that designer series paper, and I just have all the little pieces to it. I've cut out a whole sheet of this one and a whole sheet of this one. I did that with the butterfly stuff too. I just keep it and I'll put it on some cards. Here's another one where I use the designer series paper in the Well Said stamp set and dies. Now this word, the sympathy word, I cut it out. See, it's a little thicker. I cut it out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times behind here. You can't see it, but it's all cut out. I used all that paper for that one. This was another one that I got in a swap. It's kind of simple, but it's a case from the catalog. It's really pretty. Here's another. I've showed you this card before. Done with the Daisy Lane and the designer series paper. And here's a couple more. I really like the way that this label and this stamp stamps out. It's really crisp and nice. I really like the way that stamps out. And these again are just cut from the DSP. I love that paper. I could just go on and on with cards made from that paper. But if you notice, I didn't do a whole lot of cards where I did both together. So I saw a card. I should have seen, I've tried to go back and see who did it. I can't even find it anymore. But I did finally see a card where they used the designer series paper to this set and the stamp set. Because I don't really think, I mean, while they're both mosaic, they don't really, I don't know, coordinate that well. But I did see a card where I thought it coordinated nice. I'm going to just use the bottom half of this weeping willow tree with mint macaron. And I'm using my older ink pad. I've saved all of mine. I have the newer and the older, but I've saved my older ones, and I kind of feel like they work a little better to achieve this distinctive. So it still works with the newer ones. You just have to, you can't stamp off and do it. It doesn't work. You need to move some of the ink on your ink pad to the edges. It'll go back right when you're done. But so I'm just stamping just the top part of that. And then I have a piece of crumb cake that is my card base, and a piece of mint macaron that is cut with that embossing folder that is so cool. And there's this. I love, love, love the way that this stamp here stamps. It's just really, really a nice, sharp image. Every time I've stamped it, I've been happy with it. This is the crushed curry. I'm going to ink this up with some crushed curry. And I'm using the Very Vanilla It's just a little scrap piece here. Will it fit on that? Let me go sideways with it. Let's do this one sideways. And now this stamp isn't distinctive, but just every time I stamp it, it just looks so nice. And of course, when you punch this one out, it's so fun because like have this beautiful image, and then the way that they've done this stamp and this punch this time too, it's really easy to line it up, and when you punch it out, like you don't ever have a ring around it because the stamp is a little bit bigger than the punch, and so it always stamps nice and it always punches nice. So I'll have this. I'm gonna put some little dimensionals on the back of that. This is a little, it kind of looks like a flower to me. You could call it a star, I guess. I'm gonna stamp some more of that crushed curry. Was that what I was using? Yeah, crushed curry on here, and give it some flowers. A few little flowers here and there. And then fussy cut one of these hummingbirds, and boom, there you go. You got a cute little card. So I do like all of the coordinating products that go with this. I love the punch, and I love the ribbon and the little accessories that all go with this, and especially love the paper. The stamp set, I do like the stamp set, but I have a bunch of stamp sets, so for me to have this stamp set is not an issue because I have lots of stamp sets. But if you were just going to get a few stamp sets, I might not recommend this one because it's kind of limited. Other than that, it is beautiful. So it's okay. I'm not mad at it, but it's not one of my favorite stamp sets from Stampin' Up! This time. So there you go. That's my Purple Lizard 2 cents worth on it. I hope you enjoyed my video. Have a great day.